Hello everyone. San Diego Supercross. It just happened. There was a lot of similar things that happened to Anaheim 1, but there was also complete polar opposite things that happened from Anaheim 1. And I'm here to discuss those particular things today. So without further ado, let's get into all the controversy that unfolded within this weekend's event. So what better way to start this video on the highest of highs, Eli Tomac going back-to-back in his 2026 Supercross campaign. Now I know we keep on saying how unbelievable he is every weekend, but every weekend he's giving us more of an excuse to say it even more than we already do. I mean, from start to finish, all day, even from qualifying, he looked really good on the bike. It didn't really seem like he was having trouble at all throughout the track. In the main event, he was spectacular. I mean, he got a decent start. He ended up passing Ken Roczen and Hunter Lawrence. And, it came down, pretty close to the end, but he was able to hold him off for his 55th Supercross main event victory, which is, that is incredible. So I think now we know that Eli Tomac and Red Bull KTM is the real deal, and that he is hunting for his third elusive Supercross title. So let's just see how good he can keep on being for the next few weeks. Now, in a more disappointing note, I want to bring up the conversation of Chase Sexton. Now, he looked really good all day. I was pretty convinced that he was going to end up winning the main event tonight, but obviously that is not what happened. It was like he said on the podium, it was a bonehead move. That is the best way to describe it. He just got a little too antsy off the gate, really wanted that good start, and it ended up giving him the worst possible situation. But I will say this, I think he made the best out of that worst situation because he was climbing through the pack and it was fast. I mean, he was in about the top 10 by lap pretty much 2 or 3. So I take this race different than Anaheim 1 because in Anaheim 1, he was all in his head and he could barely even hang with the guys in the middle of the top 10. But this race, he showed the speed that he had, and it is championship level speed. I'm going to say that right now. He's going to win races, and now we can see that he looks a little bit more at home and more comforted with his, setup after changing it over the week. So I think Sexton is going to keep climbing, but he needs to dig himself out of this hole that he put himself in. He's already 18 points down in the championship. Now, moving on to Hunter Lawrence. Now, the difference from this week and last week is night and day. He was exceptional over the weekend. I mean, he gave Tomac a run for his money, and Roczen as well. He ended up passing Roczen for second, and almost Tomac on the final lap for the lead. So, yeah, that was a pretty impressive performance in my eyes. I think there's definitely more where that came from. He's finally putting the pieces together in Supercross. That's his third podium in his 450 career. I still do not think he's going to be a contender, but this is definitely showing signs that in the future he is going to be a contender. So don't be misinformed. Don't misunderstand that. I do think he's going to be a player in the future. He just needs to keep up what he's doing. Now, for Ken Roczen, there isn't too much to say other than I think he had the lit kit of the weekend. I mean, that Fox setup was pretty mint, and those black rims on that Suzuki is starting to grow on me. But, I mean, he had another textbook weekend. He showed pace, that he can be up front with these guys. He battled with Tomac. That was a very, very good battle, by the way. They've been doing it for 15 years at the pro level. Probably even more than that since they raced amateurs together. I mean, this guy, he's going to stick around, I think, for this championship. And, a lot of people said, and I think this too, that this is the best shot that he is going to have at winning a Supercross championship. So let's just see how he does in the future. And I think he's going to have multiple wins this season easily if he stays healthy. Now, for Cooper Webb, we're 2 rounds in. His title defense is not going well, I will say. Obviously, he did get cleaned out by Sexton, which, by the way, Sexton might have one coming. So, that also, that could jeopardize his championship chances if Cooper Webb plans to take action. But even before he got cleaned by Sexton, I feel like he just wasn't progressing at all through the field. Obviously, I was looking at the timing and scoring on the left-hand side of the broadcast, and he wasn't really making progress. Obviously, he's known for the slow starts in the championship. He really doesn't start getting a groove until the East, so obviously we can never count him out still. But he just needs to rebound, and I think next weekend he needs to get a podium at least, if not a win. So, yeah, let's see how Paul plans to move forward. I mean, it's pretty much a mastery at this point, his championship campaigns, how he handles each and every weekend. So I'm sure he's not worried, but he needs to kind of pick up the slack a little bit. So next, I wanted to talk about Jorge Prado. I don't think he particularly looked bad, but I think his result is just like, it puts into perspective how deep the field is. I mean, besides Joey Savacci, the first non-championship rider or 250 championship winning rider is in 16th place. Okay, that is absolutely mental. I don't think people should be slandering him for that result. I mean, it's a stacked field, man. It really is, and that just shows how hard it is to make progress if you don't get a good start. Now, I think if he was getting these results in outdoors, we'd be having a little bit different of a conversation, but I just don't think that result is bad, especially just he has big names in front of him, and it's hard to get past that. So I don't think we should be disappointed in his results. I still think he's doing great, actually. Just a little side note on Malcolm Stewart, I wanted to talk about him. We're glad that he is racing. Obviously, he is not 100%, but to get a top 10 in the condition that he's in, really good. I'm just happy he's here, man. That's pretty much all I have to say about Mookie. Now we have Justin Cooper, who yet again has failed to get inside the top 5. This is actually pretty alarming for me because his start mastery is that's his main game. And obviously, he did well, I think, at A1. He showed good speed. But in San Diego, I don't know, I just didn't see anything that impressed me. So we're just going to have to see how he does moving forward. I don't even know if he's going to get a podium anytime soon. I mean, obviously I could just be saying that because I haven't seen him get a good start. So we're just going to have to see what J. Coop does to change up the program. Well, now we are going to dive into the 250 class, and to kick it off, obviously I'm going to talk about Hayden Deegan, the big dog, the guy to beat, and yeah, he put on a pretty darn good performance this weekend. Passed Max Anstie for the lead in a pretty controversial way in a lot of people's eyes. Obviously, the moment it happened, it sparked a bunch of talk within the society of motocross and supercross fans. But honestly, I don't think it was intentional. I don't think he meant to take him to the ground. I think he just wanted to really secure that position. And I think Max just didn't expect it. Obviously, now Max might be looking to pay it forward based on what he said on his interview or his podium speech. But honestly, I thought it was just good hard racing, guys. I don't think it was anything too bad. Obviously, everyone was booing him at the end, which I don't really think was called for. I don't think that was, the right way that people should have saw it. The kid wants to win, man. He just wants to win. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, some things he's done in the past, I don't agree with personally, but I don't think this was too bad. If it was the other way around, I feel like people would be cheering instead. So, yeah, in my eyes, it wasn't too bad. Now, speaking of Max Anstie, I don't think that he's going to let Hayden get in his head. I think he's way too experienced for that. He has too much wisdom. But I think he rode good. Before he got taken out, he was riding good. I mean, him and Hayden were pulling away from the pack. Yeah, I think that moving forward, we really need to see how he's going to approach these next few races, because it's going to be important. They're only split by 1 point in the championship standings, and Max Anstie, he's going to need to be strong in there for sure. He's going to have to hold him off, and he's going to have to worry about Kitchen as well, who I think is going to get a win at some point in the season. So we're just going to see how the 32-year-old Great Brit does it for the next few rounds, because history shows that as we get later into the championship, he doesn't perform as well. So we're just going to have to see. Now for Levi Kitchen, he has already lost his championship. I don't see any way where he's going to be able to make a fight for this. I mean, 2 weeks in a row, dead last coming out of the first turn, both crashes. I mean, you just got to be more careful, son. That's really it, man. He had the inside, tucked the front, is what it is. He rode well, though. He was pretty fast, which is why I think he is going to end up getting at least one win in the season. But I think it's a little too late for the chef. So I think he really needs to regroup. He needs to work on his starts, and let's just see how he does in the future. Now we have Chance Hymas, who he was riding really good before he almost died on the triple going across the start straight. But yeah, he was riding good, and he's going to be a contender for a 250 championship, Supercross championship next year. I do strongly believe that. The kid's got talent, man. He reminds me of Kennard. I heard someone say, and it just stuck with me, his riding style. I mean, the fly gear, like he's a Kennard regen, guys, and he's quick. I like what I see from Hymas. I want to see him get a win this season. I really do. So let's see if he can. Now we have Cameron McAdoo grabbing his first podium in several seasons. You could tell it was an emotional night for him in a good way. I mean, that guy's pure grit, man. I really love watching him out there. I really hope that next year he can become a contender for a championship. Obviously, I don't think he's going to contend for this one. I don't know if he'll get a win either, but if he does, that's going to pull my heartstrings a little bit, because the kid deserves it, man. He's really good, very talented. I like, his riding style. You can just see the grit radiating off of him when he rides. Yeah, good stuff from Cameron. And I think it might become a consistent thing for him, honestly. Now for Michael Mosiman, he had a quiet night, but he had a good night. A podium. It's also good that he got a podium considering everything he's been through recently, or not recently, but in past. Yeah, pretty good for him. There's not really much I have to say about him. I don't think he's going to be a title contender, but he is going to be a top 5 guy every weekend, no doubt. And now we have Ryder DeFrancesco to close it off here. I think he could have done better. He did not get a good start. But I hope that A1 was not a fluke. I think that, it's going to take him a little bit, but he's going to be a podium guy consistently pretty soon here. So we'll see. The top 5 for this championship is really stacked, and I think on any weekend it could really go, besides Anstie and Deegan, and it could go pretty much any way in the top 5. So yeah, I really this is a very stacked 250 West class, and I have enjoyed it so far. So let's see how it keeps entertaining us as fans. Well, that is going to conclude my thoughts and I guess analysis on the 2026 San Diego Supercross. Next week we return to Anaheim, different track layout. I think it's going to be good. Hopefully the dirt isn't the same as it was the first time around. There's a lot of things that some riders need to do to get back on their feet. But overall, I think it's shaping up to be a pretty interesting championship with Sexton having to come back. Eli Tomac is on a win streak. And, you know, Hayden Deegan and Max Anstie, tensions are rising along with Kitchen. So I'm going to be back here next week talking about the exact same thing. So just make sure you show some love so I can keep doing it, because I like doing it and I want to keep doing it. So we will see you after Anaheim.